Hello all of my very intelligent and smart individuals over there on the other side of the camera. Today I'm going to be talking you and giving you a talk about basic assumptions and the shooting mind. And we are going to also be penetrating into the Bible. And if you are an atheist, you're gonna like this. Let's start with the basic fact that most human interaction is what should I, what should you, should I, should you. Almost all human interaction is about this. Let's start with the person. There should be freedom of speech. The other one. There should be silence. Basic assumptions, behaviors, consequences. You shouldn't scream. You shouldn't eat that. You shouldn't drink that. Basic assumptions, you should, you shouldn't. Human life. The bodies around you give you messages like this constantly. They don't even have to talk. When you go somewhere, the unconscious messages of the other person's facial expressions and this kind of stuff start to control you. Basic assumptions. You shouldn't be controlled. You should be free. Think about it. The next time you see something, your brain leaves half in how it should be and in how it actually is. But how it actually is a consequence of how it should be. Because when we think about the mind, when the mind falls asleep, it sees dreams. And these dreams are your vision of how it should be. I should be able to jump like a kangaroo. And you do in your dreams. I should be able to fly. And you do in your dreams. It actually becomes a reality. But when you are in a waking state, you are half asleep and half awake. If you want to become awakened, some enlightened master is like, you ought to meditate. Somebody says, no, not part of the Christian culture. No be meditation, no be ganja. Some Rastafari say, no be Babylon, no be cars, let's be smoking bongs. Basic assumptions. Addiction comes into the picture. A very deep question. The brain says to you, keep using this substance, keep smoking. And your lungs say, stop smoking. Contradictions. In the same way as in a family. The father says, you ought to be very nice today. The mother says, just do whatever you like. The father says, scream, be loud, express yourself. And the mother says, be timid. Don't be too attention whoring. Contradictions in the brain. You try something, you follow it, you get unforeseen consequences, you follow the other one. Your behavior not completely your own ever. You see that a great speaker gives a talk in a suit. Make an assumption in your mind. to be a great speaker, I should be wearing a suit. It might help you, but you have to understand that when we stop asking the question, we can no longer change, you know? And the question is that should we challenge these basic assumptions? If you have always been here, like if you have always been told, like you shouldn't scream, you shouldn't be loud, should you challenge it? I'm gonna say yes. But if you have always been told that you shouldn't be a murderer, you shouldn't kill, should you challenge that assumption? Probably not, you know? And when you think about it, human beings also give this kind of orders to each other. But this is going to be a lower functioning of the human brain, because it's kind of addicted, you know, functioning of the human brain. If you have to be given orders, you know, you are kind of not very free. You need somebody else, you know. You are not self-reliant, you know. So you need to be like ordered from the upper levels, you know. Your parents might have been very, you know, commanding. But the fact is that they hadn't grown up from that state yet. And you were kind of a tool for their brain function, you know. They didn't want to grow up from that. And that's why you are here, you know. So if you want to transcend this, you might die, you know. Like, what else is there than this? When I make a video and I see that a great lighting brings people to my video, you know, it affects the video. I invest in better lights. All of a sudden people start to get interested in me. I make an assumption. Lighting matters. I put more money into it. You know? Who sells me the fucking lights? Is it you? Kind of, yeah. It's you. How much money do you want? Like 50 euros? 100? 200? Yeah, of course. I have that much, you know? I could give you it all. You should be rich. You shouldn't be poor. But then again, I shouldn't be poor. Think about it. The next time you live your life, when you go to the city, and at least I'm in my brain thinking, there shouldn't be this fucking pollution. Air should be clean. Why do I think like that? Because I have noticed that my brain works better. You might be the freaking most studious and industrious person in your life, but you might still be lazy in your brain, you know? We have to awaken that thing. And I have noticed that clean air matters. As I said, lighting matters, you know? Some other person says, no, bullets matter, you know? Some other person says, there should be bombings, there should be war. You understand? Those people shouldn't be alive, you know? Do you understand how deep this goes? If we go to the criminology, there shouldn't be murderers. Well, The law doesn't really say that. The law says that if you are a murderer, then these are the consequences of that. The law doesn't actually say that you shouldn't be a murderer. It just says that there are consequences if you murder somebody. These are, of course, artificially created consequences that are enforced by other people's behavior. So the should of the one enforces the should of the other. A murderer thinks in his brain in the same way as you think, but the behavior is different. Let's think about it. If you are very, this way, you should just study so hard. You should get 10s. You should be the most well-graded student. How is that different from you should just die? And how is that different? I'm gonna kill ya. How is that different compared to actually doing it? Well, it's different in a sense that the behavior is different. But the same factor is that it shouldn't be this way. I'm not accepting this. I don't accept. The problem is that a murderer doesn't accept. But why? Very abusive parenting is kind of like not accepting the child. But what did those parents originally didn't accept? It's a chain, a chain of shoulds and shouldn'ts. It's a chain. They didn't accept the absence of pleasure. The monk says, no be pleasure. Accepting be of your own unsatisfactoriness. No be children for me. No be parenting. And the other person says, there should be human beings. I should have children. Why? Well, the modern science says genes. But I'm gonna say that genes, it's just the fucking same thing as murder, It's the same thing, different behavior. This is how our brains operate. They don't accept reality fully because it might be that the reality is not so real after all. That we live in a kind of, twilight zone. We are never fully awake. And that's why we don't accept the waking reality. But when we are asleep, we accept everything 100%. Have you noticed it? We don't question it, the dream. And then there's something called hypnosis. In hypnosis, you can't either reject what is being put into your mind, You accept all the assumptions when you are in a hypnotic trance, Your mind is not capable of making a distinction between truth and untrue. You cannot tap into your reservoir of experience or your reservoir of study or understanding. You might have the best educated people, but you might still be able to get them to believe weird stuff. They wouldn't be able to say no because their brain is in a different state. It's not so awake, it's more asleep. So the next time you make an assumption of some other people's behavior, that it shouldn't be this way, understand that you are fucking dreaming. that you are not seeing the reality. But then again, that's a shit too. Think about love. Some person feels, this person doesn't really, see me and accept me as I am. That's what I want. I just want to be myself. But what is yourself? It's a set of assumptions followed. It's not you who the person doesn't accept. It's you who you have become. You have followed. Like, that's what you don't accept, but you have internalized all of that as yourself. May it be Jesus or Buddha or some other, person or the culture around you. That's what the person doesn't accept. It's not you. And at the same time, you're not living in the reality either. Nobody is. It's not actually possible, Because if we did, we would cease to function. We would cease to exist, We could no longer have anything we do. Because how would we, there wouldn't be the function to kind of initiate that behavior. Every behavior has to be initiated by the mind, What does the body tell to you when you have eaten too many Doritos? Or then when you have drank too much Coke? Or what does the body tell you when you are hangover? You have drank too much alcohol. Probably that I shouldn't maybe be continuing this behavior, but why do you do it? Because you are addicted. And in addiction, the brain gives a different message than the gut. Or the heart gives a different message than the hands. Keep doing those push-ups, man. Keep pumping that iron, tells your brain. And your hands scream, quit this fucking thing. What are you doing? Let's go back to your parenting. Good couples should probably give their children kind of a uniform message, but at the same time make it very clear that this is our view of reality and it's not the truth. Nobody has the fucking truth. Can you understand? Nobody has the fucking truth. Because we don't live in reality. If somebody comes to tell you that I live in reality and you should too, he's fucking asleep. We have to transcend these functionings of the brain to become free. We can't really be free otherwise. But what will we become? Yeah. Let's go back to a couple of persons from the past. And let's map how they were the same. There was the guy, Hitler. You know Hitler? A pretty known guy. And the Hitler said, no be Jews. Jews shouldn't exist. I can say that too. I don't really think like that. They have great hats, But they say that that Jews shouldn't exist. But what were they willing to go through to make that reality true? Hitler had a vision. And he really wanted to make that vision true. It might be possible for you also in your life to use the Hitler power to make you unaddicted, to alcohol, For example, when we talk about prohibition next, and those times, that was before World War II, the people who were for prohibition weren't really for the not using of alcohol. It was that if you use alcohol, there are consequences, because there are consequences. It kind of matched to the substance, and that's I think how it should be. That's my vision, And it was done before. Then there were other, leaders who had visions too. Like Steve Jobs, there should be connectivity. People should, stare their screens and tap away and talk with their friends, on the other side of the planet, and not with the person that is right in front of them in the room. Like that's how world should be. Maybe he didn't foresee it fully, what he was fucking doing. But what was the same thing? Well, he had a fucking vision. That people should be able to talk with each other, over long distance. That was done even before, but he wanted to make it more sleek and efficient. And he did. And now we have this world. Why? Because of imagination. Hitler, he was an artist. He wasn't a very imaginative artist, but he was like a realist artist before World War I, was it? Yeah. And no, how did it go? Well, you know the facts probably. And think about it. He had a mind of an artist, capable of envisioning. You might ask a question, what were the dreams of Hitler like? And you might ask a question, should we use Hitler power to change the world? Well, it's a basic assumption, the world should change. Well, it has changed quite a lot, but has it? Have we been able to change this? Or are we still the same? What I see from the world around me is that most people live on Hitler power. It's very hard to transcend being a Hitler, You should maybe grow a mustache to do that. You know what they say? Become like one to win the one. But for reals. This mechanism can be used for great good or great evil. And it's all about the body. The body gives us messages all the time. As I said, when you go into a place, you get thousands of unconscious messages of how you ought to act. Where do those come from originally? Why don't people just scream, at the town? Why don't they just scream? Why? How would it be different from everybody being silent? Like, why do people, like when you go to something like New Year, why don't people scream? Like all the time. Why don't everybody scream? Why? Well, when you think about it, silence is kind of the same as not moving. Moving is, or walking, requires more than just being still. And screaming requires more than being silent. Maybe they are that way because it's easier, you know. Or maybe they think they can't get with anything with screaming. But then again, they have an assumption in their mind that they should get something. What do they want? You know? You can say, screaming doesn't change anything. Screaming doesn't change anything. But then you can also ask, like, so you want change then? Yeah. Can you see? When you deem somebody insane, you're not that different. You know? Our brains are all the same. The murderer's brain is just the same as yours. Hitler's brain was no different from yours. The neurologist can say any fucking thing you want. The difference is that some people have a brain that goes, this should be like this. And the person and the body makes that reality happen. I should be a public speaker. And I should make that reality happen. Do you understand? I make that reality happen. And that's why I wear a suit. And Hitler should have too. I wonder if he did. Man, those Americans had so much more freaking style. Yeah. But thanks for watching this video. Use the Hitler power. Or transcend it. Maybe that's our future.